Hey guys, welcome to another edition, a spooky edition of the chat room. We invited Mr. DB O'Connor in from the original Killarney Ghost Tour. DB, thanks for coming in.
Pleasure to be here.
How are you?
I'm absolutely fabulous.
Are you absolutely up the walls with the time of year it is?
We're getting fairly busy now, so we are. Very busy.
Excellent. Come here. We really wanted to chat to you because of the time of year, is because what you guys do in the Ghost Tour. In the Ghost Tour, you said it was created because of a desire to promote storytelling in Ireland, right? What inspired you to promote the storytelling?
Well, I suppose you could say I grew up in the storytelling tradition. I grew up at the foot of the Pat Mountains, and I grew up. It was a shop at the crossroads. It was run by my grandparents and later my parents. And I've great memories, growing up in the kitchen of this house. People calling around a couple of nights a week, telling stories, reciting poetry, playing music. So I got involved then in the tourist business. I joined Kerry Coaches many years ago. Became a tour guide, so my interest in mythology, folklore, history, all of that combined, and the desire to tell people about the countryside that we live in and so on. And that led on into the creation of the Killarney Ghost Tour, which I started about 9 years ago with, we're coming to the end of our 9th season.
Wow.
So I started that with a man called Derek Ryan. Actually, big shout out to Derek. Derek is in recovering, thankfully, in hospital at the moment. So recover and get back to us. We're going to miss you this Halloween, so we are.
What's the scariest Killarney-based ghost story?
Oh God, there are many. There are many. I think the scariest one would be about a character called John Drake.
Right.
John Drake, supposedly, or he did, he lived in Muckersappy.
Right. He lived there?
He actually lived there, in Muckersappy. This was during the 1700s, for many, many years. He... Actually, do you know what? I won't tell you more about it. You'll have to come on the tour. Sorry.
That's fair enough. Do you know, shockingly, I've never been on the tour, and I said I'm going on the tour this year. Definitely. Tell me, I know you're obviously crazy busy now these times, but can you tell me about how, the traditions associated with Halloween?
Traditions, well, we've the pumpkin here, as you can see. Believe it or not, or a lot of people may not know this, but the pumpkin was actually originally a turnip. Yeah, exactly. There are two sort of schools of thought. The first one I'm going to tell you, I would say probably the more believable one. The fact that Samhain is actually it's actually an Irish festival.
Okay.
It's very much it's a Celtic festival. It goes back over 2,500 years.
And it started in Ireland.
It started in Ireland, originated in Ireland with the Celts. Like the Celts would have come from Central Europe and made their way here, finished up here.
Because it's massive in the States as well, isn't it?
Huge in the States, but it was taken by the Irish immigrants, taken to America. They kind of did a bit of jigging around with it, and we imported it back, and that's what you get today.
Right.
But the origins, just going back to the pumpkin. It was the time of the year. It was actually traditionally the Celtic New Year, start of the Celtic New Year, and the Celts thought a little bit differently than we did. They actually, their day started into night, so their day started at night time. It was night time into daytime.
Okay.
So their year started at the darkest period of the year, which is the start of winter, which is now.
Right.
So their new year starts now. And they would have lit bonfires. It was one of the 4 major fire festivals of the year. They would have lit bonfires, which we're actually pronouncing wrong. It was actually bonfire, is the proper name for it.
Don't tell me they had bones in the fire, DB.
They did have bones in the fire, they did indeed. What was happening was, it was the harvest was in, the animals were fat after the summer, after the grazing. All the sheds were full of fuel. They were celebrating the end of the year and the start of the new year. So any animals that wouldn't make it through the winter, they would have slaughtered the animals. They would have cured the meat, kept that for themselves, and they would have thrown the bones on a fire and lit them as an offering to the gods. Because it was actually a time of the year where the veil between our world and the spirit world completely dissipates at midnight on the 31st. You don't want to be near a graveyard at midnight on the 31st. It's freaky. Okay. So the spirits are actually free. This veil keeps us protected from these spirits. So this veil is open. They can wander in, the good ones and the bad ones. So that's actually where dressing up in costumes. Kids dress up and scary witches and everything. This was so you looked like you came from the spirit world. So if you happen to bump into a real one, he kind of went, "Oh, hey buddy," and he went off, and you went off.
Is that where that came from?
And you made a lucky escape. But getting back, I'm going to finish the story with the pumpkins.
Sorry,
I'm determined.
Sorry, I keep getting you sidetracked.
Back to the turnips, okay? So it was all the fires in the country would have been put out, and the druids would have lit a new fire to symbolise the start of the new year. All the fires at home would have been extinguished. So people would have brought an ember from the new fire back to their house to start their fire for the year.
For the year.
So how do you carry an ember? This is going back a long time ago, and nothing fireproof back in those days. So you carved out a turnip, you put the ember into it, and back you went. Okay? So this tradition went to America with the immigrants. Also, there's a story about a guy called Jack O'Lantern. Jack O'Lantern, I won't give you the full version, but basically he colluded with the devil. And he ended up being destined to wander the darkness of limbo forever. The devil actually took pity on him. So he threw him a burning hot ember from the fires of hell. Jack couldn't hold the ember, so Jack happened to have a turnip in his pocket.
Of course, as you do. Yeah.
So he carved out the turnip, put the turnip put the ember into the turnip, and this lit his way around eternity through the darkness.
And led to it.
So we went to America with this. No turnips in America, not enough turnips.
No.
They had the pumpkins. We carved them out, put a few scary faces. We imported the whole thing back again, and there you have the pumpkin.
Jeez, that's fantastic.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Tell me, it's a good one now. What's your favourite part of Halloween?
Favourite part of Halloween? Well, when I was a kid, obviously it was the sweets. Yeah, as with every kid, I think.
It's still my favourite part.
Easy to. Favourite part of Halloween? It's the dressing up, actually. The dressing up. And also in recent years, and especially since we started the Ghost Tour, we get a lot of locals on more this time of the year. And the kids are amazed as to like the origins of the pumpkin, and why they dress up, why we do trick or treating, there's so many more festivals or more traditions associated when you kind of delve into it. And it's just the pleasure of sort of reigniting, even in people who know this stuff, just reigniting it. And people are on the tour, they're chatting with us afterwards, they I remember my grandmother used to do this, or my grandfather would do that. And there's a great pleasure in that. It's just keeping the old traditions alive. Really is what we're about primarily on the Ghost Tour. There's a few jumps, there's a few scares, we have to do that, but that's what we're primarily about. We're about the story, yeah.
What's the one story you never get tired of telling?
The one story.
I imagine you know a lot of stories.
The one story, there's quite a few. The one that sort of, I think, has the longest effect on people, that probably lingers in the memory more, purely because it concerns a stretch of roadway in Killarney that most locals will drive on a semi-regular basis. I don't know if you heard the story. I'm not going to tell you the story. But this actually concerned, it was an incident, and there have been many incidents, and you wouldn't believe it actually. We started telling the story 9 years ago, and we've had 3 people come up to us on the tour after they heard the story. And they've had, not them directly, but relations and close people, they've had similar encounters on the stretch of roadway. It concerns kind of an entity or something that appears in cars up around Derrycunny Church. We won't go any further with the story. Again, you have to come on the tour to sort of get the full version of it.
Brilliant. DB, thank you so much for calling in. I presume, what are you up to for the week?
Well, I tell you, shameless plug here.
Plug away,
might as well use the opportunity.
Absolutely.
We're actually down in Kinmare this weekend coming. There's a wonderful festival in its infancy down there. They've been at it for a couple of years, and it is growing, and it is fabulous couple of days down there. So we're down there with the coach, but it's stationary storytelling, spooky storytelling. We have a very well-known storyteller, well-known Cork, Kerry, Limerick, a man called Ray Sullivan.
Ray, absolutely.
Ray actually works on he does the tours with me, as well as Derek. We kind of alternate, the 3 of us alternate on the tour. And but Ray is with us down here in Kinmare. So what we're doing is we're parking the coach in the square. We're there from 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock on Saturday, 5 o'clock on Sunday, 5 o'clock on Monday. Coach is going nowhere. You come in and Ray will do a half-hour show, and it's designed from 2-3-year-olds up to about 12-year-olds. So if you're just looking for something interesting to do, pop down, pop into us, and like I said, the show is short, it's only half hour long. So, and then we're back up into Killarney. Then we're here on the Monday night. We're doing a 9 o'clock show. and then we're running through until the 4th at 8 o'clock every night from East Avenue Road. Tuesday night is sold out, 31st.
I imagine it would have been
nice. I think we're fairly busy that night, but we have availability all the other nights.
Brilliant. Best of luck with it. Thank you so much for calling to us.
No
I want to give a big shout out to Liam in Deck the Halls for all our. Did you see all our spooky candles?
I'm scared to come in here.
But thank you so much again for coming in, Dee.
No problem.
And have a fantastic Halloween.